I'm feeling sick. Okay, so despite my despite my sickness, I apparently still need to fucking get videos out because yeah, that's more important than resting. Getting fucking YouTube videos out for a channel of my size. Anyway, so today's question is Opera GX worth it? Worth what? Your time? I mean, it's a free browser, but is it worth your time to download and set up the browser? Well, let's do a Pika Reviews Lite. Not a full-on review, let's just do a Lite. Now, if you don't know what Opera GX is, well, for anyone who doesn't know what Opera is a pretty famous browser. And by that I mean it's famous for being used less than Edge. That's pathetic. But essentially, what Opera is it's a fork of a Chromium code base, which is what Google Chrome runs on. So why am I talking about Opera GX, and what the fuck is Opera GX? Is this some thing in Opera that does some shit that I don't care about because I use Google Chrome? Well no, what Opera GX is that it's a fork of Opera. Essentially, Opera GX is a gaming browser. Now that you know what it is, let's actually get into some hands-on experiencing. The fuck is wrong with me? Okay, so first up, I already have my Opera set up, or Opera GX, I have it all set up, so this is what you would usually see. Now, you may also be hearing music in the background, and that's because Opera GX actually has an option to play music in the background. It's actually right here. So I can just turn off the music, or have background audio. Obviously, this isn't the default of what it actually looks like. I've obviously set it up myself. So obviously, as you can see, I have this GX corner thing. I also have sounds enabled. Okay, so it seems like GX corner is just... It's like a game... It's strange. This seems completely pointless to me because it's a games you would think, oh, this is Opera's version of Steam or the Epic Games Store or anything, but it's like, no, I'll click this one. It just takes you right off the website, right to universesandbox.com. It's not even, like, if I go here, yeah, it goes straight to Steam. What the fuck's the point of this? That there's no point in this GX corner. It's literally just, hey, we don't have a game storefront, but here. It's like, why? Why? It's not like you get a fucking discount by using this fucking link. Okay, so a few features here. For example, you can change the theme. Very easy to do. You might also be hearing sound effects as well, because that's also a feature. Also, dark mode is on by default. Okay, so the sidebar, that's obviously this right here. The wallpaper, which is this, obviously, big tiles. To be honest, I just disabled all this shit because it's just like, oh, a search bar. Ah yes, because there isn't a search bar up here. Okay, obviously the background music, which is this. The splash screen, which is just, when it opens up, there's like a little black box. It's like, Opera GX. Boom. Oh look, now it's open. I just disabled that. Okay, Force Dark Pages is actually really interesting. Also, yeah, block ads and block trackers. Just install uBlock Origin if you're going to do that. Just don't bother using the built-in ones. Just use uBlock Origin. As for a VPN, don't bother using the Opera VPN. Just, if you need a VPN, fuck off. But Force Dark Pages is actually interesting because there are a lot of extensions to force a web page into dark mode. And of course, as you can see, it's in beta because it's still being worked on. So if, for example, I were to go to play.pokemonshowdown.com. Oh, so you can hear the click. So if I were to go here, now you'll notice that Force Dark Mode is on. So you may notice that everything looks a bit weird, right? Everything like, it's like, a Force Dark Mode. But some of the text is still like, ugh. Luckily they thought of this. They didn't just have an option to enable and disable. So if you right click, disable Force Dark Page. So you can disable it specifically for this web page or this website or whatever. But of course, that isn't everything. Now, there are some stuff that you pretty much, to my knowledge, cannot find in any other browser. I mean, hell, there's probably fucking extensions for it because there's always fucking extensions for everything. Which would be these things called GX Control and GX Cleaner. As you can see, actually, yeah, this is literally just like the Chrome's thing. It's just a fancier version of the Chrome. You know when you open Chrome and you want to clear your browsing history, it's just a fancier version of that. It's just like, oh, look at how mystical and spacey it is. And then there's GX Control, which hot tab stealer, slash tab the stealing resources, network limiter. So you can actually apply limiters to the browser. So say for example, that you can even see how much CPU it's using. Like if I, for example, went to a game and it was using like 90% of my CPU, and I'm like, oh no, what do? It's using all my CPU. Theoretically, if I were to put on a limiter, it would only be able to use that much CPU that I've given it. Of course, that would cause some problems for some games that actually are CPU reliant and would likely cause a lot of lag. So how useful this would be is debatable. But as you can see, this is where the gaming stuff comes in. Like it's thinking of the games, like hard limit. Oh look, it's like how much memory can Opera use, or Opera GX? How much network bandwidth can it use? And even like, oh look, here are tabs that are killing your CPU, or they're using your CPU, or they're using your RAM. You can just kill them if they're here. Now obviously this is the setup sidebar. But for some reason it has support for messengers. Facebook Messenger, oh sorry, Meta Messenger, WhatsApp and Telegram. There's more of them. It's like VK, Instagram, Twitter. Why? Now obviously if you go to the full browser settings, now you can start seeing like, it still looks very different, but now you can start seeing that it looks a bit more like Chrome now, like clearing browsing history, which is exactly what the fucking cleaner does. You see what I fucking mean? You see what I fucking mean? Like if I click this, it's the same fucking thing. So I guess now we can actually put it to the test. Let's actually see how it fares in a game. Now some of you may know this game, it's called Agar.io, and I did actually do an official video on this. Yo, so it's Pikakid98 here, today we're playing Agar.io. Now, many people say that this is called Agario, because they're idiots, but it's Agar.io. No. And I'm dead already. Can I turn down the graphical quality or something? Well, this person really wants to destroy me, don't they? Yes! Facebook, no Facebook, you can't have my data. Oh Jesus! What is it loading? So I'm just gonna skim through this. Probably won't even do a full game. Okay. Let's actually try limiting it. Yeah, oh, it was using the nice number. Let's try actually limiting it. Low CPU, your browser speed might be affected. That's funny because yeah, that's clearly a fucking lie. Cause I'm quite literally showing my CPU. Yeah, that's not limiting at all. Okay, I know Agar.io is not a good example because the game itself is just a laggy piece of shit sometimes. But yeah, so yeah, okay, so the game. Oh, okay, so yeah, okay, so the CPU limiter isn't really doing much. In fact, it's doing pretty much fucking nothing because yeah, it's doing nothing because the CPU usage is quite high. And the limiter is on. You can clearly see in the bottom left corner that the limiter is in fact on. So what even is the fucking point of this bullshit? Oh, Jesus. So, yeah. Okay, so it seems like it has a lot of pointless features. I suppose it's CPU limiter that doesn't limit the CPU at all. Well, I don't really see the point in that. So if I... Wow, okay, that was, It actually sliced it as well with the animation. But yeah, so, okay, so the RAM limiter and the CPU limiter clearly don't fucking do anything. But yeah, so that was my review of Opera GX. I guess move on to a place where I do an outro. Fuck's sake. So yeah, that was my review of the Opera GX gaming browser. And is it worth it at the end of the day? Not really, no. It kind of just exists. The features in it, like the CPU limiter, don't work. Browser dark mode can be on pretty much any browser if you just install the correct extension. Overall, it's just kind of not really worth using, especially not for everyday use, since it's supposedly a gaming browser. So anyway, I've been your host, Pikakid98. This has been Pika Reviews Lite, and you have been fantastic. So until the next video, I say bye bye.